Paul, it seems only the right thing to do to talk about talking about the fitness levels of the squad. I mean, it's much been made about the injuries at this time to start the season. What's the latest on fitness for the weekend?
Well, Lairdie's obviously a long-term injury now. You know, he's a tear of the hamstring. We're going to have it assessed tomorrow. See what the story is, how big a tear and how bad a tear it is. So he's going to be a while out. Dixon as well, you know, is going to be assessed on his groin. So those two who, you know, would be mainstays of your team are out. Compton comes back into training again, but he's well off it. You know, he's been out for 5-6 weeks. Gibbons will be a couple of weeks before he's ready, so Omni a couple of weeks. Dawson obviously is still long term, Tozer's long term, and Gillette's long term. So it doesn't make good reading.
No. Is there a danger that because of the length of the injury list already, that some of them you have to bring back sooner than you would hope for?
Well, there's Compton now, who's deemed himself fit for Saturday. You know, it's 1 day's training. You know, and the situation we're in at this minute, we would have three strike. If I pick the team, I'm thinking of picking up 3 forward types on the bench. Bringing in Compton, put him on the bench. There's not a midfield player or a defender available, so it doesn't make easy reading for if one of those get injured at the back or in midfield, or all of a sudden playing people out of position.
Yeah, you said Thursday was kind of like a D-Day in terms of bringing in people for the weekend. Is there any developments in that? Are you still looking to do something?
I've got to talk to the chairman, obviously, and the board, see what their thoughts on it. You know, at the end of this, the budget's a budget, and we've got to think about what's best for the team. So that'll be an assessment we'll have this afternoon.
Yeah. Darryl Clark said this morning at Bristol Rovers that you must have a large squad if you've got 8 injuries already. I mean, that's just testament though, isn't it, really? I mean, that's not the case, obviously, and numbers are always going to be, you're always going to feel the pinch with injuries, aren't you?
Well, we have 8 injuries and 22 players. That means you've got 14. We can't fulfill our subs bench. It shows you how desperate we're getting at this minute. And to be fair, we've had to chuck boys in straight away, Compton straight into the deep end. And the boy Roberts even further in the deep end. I'm saying straight in, didn't know anybody, had to perform. You know, it's a difficult one, you know, for players, young players especially, to all of a sudden come out of the hustle and bustle. So that's been I think in midweek there, the result, going home and assessing the whole scenario. We've had so many games of that ilk lately. If you take if you take Swansea's under-21s, if you take Bristol City, if you take Bournemouth, they've not been appropriate games. They haven't been as far as crowd is concerned, and appeasing the supporters, you know, for decent standard opposition. But for what we're about to receive as far as league games are concerned, you know, we've had to adapt probably our systems of play and our style of play to not get the drubbings, you know. So in the end, I don't think that pre-season was appropriate as far as that's concerned. But season started. We've had one league game where I would say that we held our own. You know, we got back into the game after a poor first half. And really, in the end of the day, it's league games from now on. We get as many of our boys fit as possible, as quickly as possible, and we start trying to put points on the board.
Yeah, and is it a good game next? Another local game, first home game at Hewish Park, to have Bristol Rovers coming here as the visitors. It's a nice game to look forward to.
Well, it's a derby atmosphere, I would imagine. They'll bring a large support. Our support will turn out. I must admit, the support's been fantastic through bad halves and good halves. You know, they've stuck by the players. I think they're appreciative that this is not an overnight scenario. This is bedding these players in is going to take time, and it's going to affect the team, you know, as we go along the road. It'd have been fantastic. I think we'd have been far better scenarios if they were all fit. because then we could have had all our experienced players playing at the same time. But that's football. We're not going to cry about it. I'm going to talk to the board about maybe thinking about strengthening. But out with that, we've still got 11 that are going to run out there on Saturday. I know one thing about the 11 that run out, they'll roll their sleeves up and give everything they've got. That's one thing about these laddies that are here now. There's a commitment to the cause. They might not be the best standard-wise, but they give everything they've got in their tanks. You can't blame players for having that kind of attitude. I'm delighted to have that. Now we've got to put icing on the cake with putting our 3 points on the board.
Yeah, and of course that can't come soon enough. I know each game that goes by probably adds extra pressure, but I guess you have to keep your feet on the ground and just stay composed.
Well, the thing is, if we could get 3 points on Saturday, it'd be fantastic. With going to York on Tuesday night, a long trek there. But who knows? I'm saying Bristol Rovers have got a solid squad. I don't know if they've got too many injuries, but they seem to be playing the same team quite regularly. They've got some hardened pros, got a good manager, and in the end it'd been very easy at the end of the relegation year. The chairman stuck by him, and he's repaid them in tenfold. And I think there'll be a competent team in this league. They'll hold their own quite easily in this league. But hopefully not on Saturday.
and that's another part of it, I suppose. They're in the same position as you in terms of the way they've started the season, identical records. Does that put extra on it for you? I mean, importance is there for both teams.
What I've put together is that their support was quite happy with their performance in midweek. They probably deserve more out of the game than they got. So they're coming here thinking I wouldn't suppose you'll make too many changes from the team. You might freshen up a wee bit, but we've got to be positive. There's been parts of all games we've played out here that we've played very, very well. It's just been nice if we could piece 90 minutes together.
Yeah, and the fans obviously going to have their part to play this weekend, aren't they?
They've been fantastic. 2-0 walking off the pitch at Exeter, the fans heads would be around their ankles by 20 minutes in. They were right behind the team. I can't praise them enough. They've been absolutely different class. They're the real people. They realise what the scenario is. New players coming in every day, every game, and also we've still got a lot of players that haven't donned the strip yet. So sooner or later, come this season, we've got to make sure we're in a comfortable position in the league, and we might get totally healthy, and who knows what we might be like when we get healthy.
You say it have a derby feel about it at the weekend. Do you have to change your approach for those kind of games? Is there a different kind of atmosphere around them?
I think the atmosphere will be made by the two sets of fans. I think that's the way most derbies go, and the essence is they want their team to win, so there'll be an edge to the game, and there'll be two teams right at each other. So I'm just looking forward to it.
Yeah, and given the fact that they've come from non-league last season, you dropped down a level. How does that pair? Does any significance into that going into the
significance game? Is we are a completely different team from the team who went down. So we just don't know what we can achieve yet. I would probably say at this juncture, I still don't know what my strongest team is because I haven't seen the 6 of the players yet perform. But there has been even a game midweek there when the first half we lost 2 goals. I thought we started the second half excellent, and saying putting them on the back foot, had 2 or 3 half chances that we could have done better with, and I'm just hoping that we can take our second half performances into the first half now. I think that's what we'll be aiming for on Saturday.